Welcome to Table for One. I'm the narrator, and in today's video, I'll be doing a solo playthrough of Voidfall. So in this video, I'm going to be playing scenario number 5, Devil's Triangle, and I'm going to play as House Belitan with starting origin B. Let's get rolling. So I'm all set up now to play a solo game of Voidfall. I am playing Scenario 5, Devil's Triangle, and I am playing as House Belitan, which is one of the 4 starting houses, and I believe it is the only house I have not played on this channel yet. So this must be my 14th playthrough. So to those of you who have seen them all, thanks for sticking with me. I am playing with the starting origin B, so my starting tech is Data Refinery. So for each of my Bankers Guilds, I gain 2 levels on my Science Guilds, regardless of population, or Science Production, I should say, regardless of population. As one of the basic houses, Belitan does not have a house ability. I don't have any special focus cards. And then my 2 preferred focus cards are Progress and Prosperity. I've got my setup card here, so all this stuff is already done. You can take a look at it if you want. You may notice I have replaced my fleet cubes again with metal cubes from Anachrony. This time I'm using Neutronium. I am the, I guess, the pink player here, but I've got these purple Neutronium cubes, which are awesome. So that's just for a bit of fun. And then other replacement pieces, of course, are all the pieces that are on the Etsy store that I co-own with my friends. Link in the description. It's Brain Bucket Games. It's going to be all the tokens on the map. So guilds and installations and glory tokens, the fleet tokens, the bounty and reclaim tokens. Then, of course, these agenda and tech trays, and we've got a bunch of other stuff too that helps keep things organized, so I'm using those components as well. I am playing on hard mode today. Here's the reminder card, and the technology draw was really interesting today. We did get 2 houses with the cracked glass, but despite that, there are no other ship types that we can build, so no destroyers, dreadnoughts, sentries, or what am I forgetting? Carriers. And then in addition to that, we don't have Starbase's tech, and we don't have any techs that modify corvettes. So this was, I don't know, pretty unusual, but we'll see how it goes. The fallen house is House Marquelos. The houses for the techs that we did draw are Dunlork, Marquelos, Nervo, and Yarvek. So those techs are orbital docks, energy cells, autonomous drones, trade nexus, robotics, arc ships, hyperdrive, and tactical transports. And then, of course, I've got my improved version of Data Refinery here next to my player area. The 2 level 0 crises we drew on the military track, we have Preserving Population. This says have 2 or more peer sectors with 4 or more population. And on the economic track, we have Base of Operations, have 3 or more peer sectors, and have 8 or more peer fleet power on the map. So I'll be, I guess, trying to do those. And I'll put away this setup card now, flip it over to its agenda side, and slot it. So we get, at the end of each cycle, 3 influence for each peer sector with 5 population, 6 influence for each peer sector with 6 population, 1 influence for each peer bankers guild, and then 1 influence for each peer guild. So in the absence of a lot of the any of the other ship types or corvette modifications, I think I'm looking at an economic strategy this time where I'm going to hunker down and try and go tall, build up a small number of sectors and try and score them to the best of my ability that way. So I'll probably only be invading other sectors when I run out of places to build. So from a tech perspective, energy cells could help me protect my sectors. Trade nexus could be very useful for the trade token economy. Both robotics and arc ships could be very useful. So those are the ones I'm probably most interested in. And then in this first cycle, the Galactic event I drew, so I guess we're getting started. We're in cycle 1 now. The first event is We Are the Resistance. There's only going to be 4 turns in this first cycle. The first thing we need to do is add a Voidborn fleet power and a 1 value glory token to 1 adjacent Voidborn sector. And we've got a few options here. I think I am going to do that in this sector here that is adjacent to my home sector through this wormhole. And I guess it's not that big a deal, but I'll just point out real quick, I've rotated the map a little bit as opposed to the way it looks in the rule book. I've just sort of rotated each sector, but the layout is still identical, but it fits on the screen better this way. So if you're looking at the rule book, this line here is normally vertical. So I'm kind of at like a 60-degree rotation or something like that. But that's really neither here nor there. So this is adjacent. I picked that one because this one is an identical sector, at least before I added that stuff. But I can reach it from both my outpost and from my home sector through this other wormhole, whereas this one is not touching my outpost, even though there's a wormhole A over there. There's a void storm in between, so I guess I'm less likely to go that way. This one's easier to get to, so I'd rather leave this one a little bit more open. And then we may, according to this galactic event, either activate 1 fleet power, increase 1 pure population, or build 1 bankers guild. And the 2 goals for the end of the cycle are to either have 10 or more pure population, and if we do, then we can build a guild and an installation, or have 3 or more pure bankers guilds. And if we do that, then we can advance 1 civilization track. And I think I'd rather do that bottom one. Bankers guilds are not usually my favorite, but I've got data refinery as my starting tech, so I should probably lean into it. So I am going to build a bankers guild, and I think I'll do that here in my home sector. So I have a population of 2 there. That means my credit production goes up twice, and then because of data refinery, every bankers guild makes my science production go up twice. So that was pretty good. And now we can take our first turns. Let me draw the first alert card. It is a level 2 alert, so let's get a crisis that matches. And we have a military crisis. This is internal unrest. Choose to recall twice from your home sector. Otherwise, the immediate penalty is to pay 3 food. Boy, that's a big hit to food early on, but that's probably the way this is going to go, because I don't know that I've got a lot of interest in immediately deploying to my home sector just to recall twice. So before I play my first focus card, the 3 heroic cards out this cycle are Heroic Production, Heroic Prosperity, and Heroic Reinforcement. And I will start by playing my reinforcement card to take Heroic Reinforcement. So I'm going to take, obviously, 2 actions off this card, and I'll start with the bottom action here. I'm going to take 1 corruption, and I'm going to place that in my outpost sector. All right, so that cost has been paid. And then I can either construct 2 installations or remove 1 military or general crisis from the crisis board, or I suppose from the current crisis as well. And while that is tempting, I'm going to build 2 installations. They're going to be 2 sector defenses in my outpost sector. So there we go. That because I know I'm not taking a very military approach, I want to make sure I've got some way to defend myself. So then the other thing I'm going to do is take this top action, accelerate. So I need to spend 4 of any resources. So I think I'm just going to spend 4 credits. I start with 5, so I'll go down to 1. And then I can regroup up to 5 fleet power, and I can gain 4 resources. And I think I'm going to take, you know what? I'll take 3 food and 1 credit back. No, let's make it 2 and 2. What do I want to do? No, let's go back to the food I had. Let's just make it all credits. We'll go. So I basically spent 4 credits, and then I got 4 credits back. That's fine. But now I'm going to advance my lowest track, and I have 2 options. And I'm going to go for the statecraft track, so that advances, and now I can activate 1 fleet power. So now I have 3 active neutronium here, 3 active fleet power. So I'm done taking actions off my focus card. I discard the heroic focus card. Oh, and while I'm thinking about it, when I was setting up and drawing the heroic focus cards, I did draw innovation. And so I replaced it, I think with reinforcement. I had to redraw 1. And then innovation went on the top of the stack. So I know I'm going to see that in cycle 2. But anyway, now we need to handle this crisis. I am going to pay the penalty. I'm going to pay 3 food. So we go from 5 food down to 2, and that crisis card goes away now, as does the alert card. And now our next alert card is a level 1 alert. So now we grab a crisis card, and we draw. What is this? Evolving enemy. After you gain a tech, choose to also add a Voidborn fleet power on an adjacent Voidborn sector. Otherwise, you can recall a fleet power or add a Voidborn fleet power to every open rift. Well, that gives me some options, I suppose. But I am going to play politics. And so the first action I'm going to take is, I'll take the top action, Inspire. So I spend 1 science, so I go down to 4 science to advance my statecraft track, and now I can gain a tech, and I think I need to grab arc ships. So I'm going to take that one. I gain 4 influence for that, go from 10 to 14, so that's the first time my influence went up. And now I can increase a pure population and build a guild. And I'm going to increase the pure population of my home sector. So I'm going to go from 2 to 3. That makes my food production go up 1 level and my credit production go up 1 level. And I can also build a guild, and I can hold 2 additional guilds on my home sector. And so I'm going to build an additional bankers guild here. That is going to make my credit production go up 3 more levels. So it's up to level 7, a yield of 3. And because of data refinery, my science level goes up twice. So that's up to level 4 and a yield of 3. And because I can still hold 1 more guild on my home sector, I can just take this out of here. I don't have to pay the upkeep. And in fact, the glossary for arc ships says, for basic arc ships, if the upkeep space is already occupied when you gain this technology, you may immediately rearrange the guilds to free it up. So that's what I've done. That's super nice. So let's go ahead and slot this tech now. And since I just gained a technology, I could add a Voidborn fleet power to an adjacent Voidborn sector, but I don't think I really want to do that. So I am just going to choose not to. And for my second action, I'm going to take control here at the bottom. So that costs 1 credit. I go from 5 down to 4. And I could move a corruption, but I don't think I will. And then I can gain a trade token. So I will take a trade token. And for my reward, I'm going to take a bounty token. So of course, these bounty tokens on the map are blanks. I keep all the cardboard originals in a draw bag, available at Brain Bucket Games on Etsy. But I'm going to draw one out of here for my reward. And I get 1 resource of any type. And I think I'm going to take a credit. So I'm back up to 5 credits. Put the bounty token over here. And that was my 2 actions. So I'm going to slot this trade token here on my starting agenda. I've got a little bit of room. Maybe I can slide this whole thing up just to make it a bit more visible at the bottom of the screen there. There, that's a little bit better. And then before I handle this crisis, I'm just kind of looking ahead, looking at this agenda right here, this quantum leap of the wealth type agenda. For influence to have 2 improved techs, I think I would very much like to do that. That's typically my play styles to get techs. And then 3 influence for every 2 bounty tokens. If I get Trade Nexus, then I'll be swapping out a lot more trade tokens, and I can just keep grabbing this bounty token reward and maybe drive up the score on that. So this is an agenda that I'm kind of looking at. Just thought I would point that out since I had the thought. But yeah, let's take care of this crisis now. And I'm going to take the immediate penalty of adding a Voidborn fleet power to each open rift. Because again, it was either recall a fleet power or add a Voidborn fleet power to each open rift. And in order to, it was an or, but in order to take that, there must be at least 1 open rift. Otherwise, you cannot take that penalty. But as I said, I think I kind of want to hunker down in this playthrough and have a really tall economic strategy. And so I don't really intend to, I don't think, go out to that rift out there. So I don't mind adding fleet power there. So this is resolved. We'll remove these cards and we draw our next alert, which is a level 2 alert. And we draw extended conscription. So this is a military crisis. Take the action on a support agenda while already having 2 or more active fleet power. Otherwise, the immediate penalty is to corrupt an agenda slot. So if I had a support agenda, I could accomplish that right now, but I don't have one. I would have to get one and then play it. So I might make this one ongoing. I'm not sure, or I might just take the corruption and be done with it. But then again, I think the next focus card I'm going to play is Temptation, and so maybe I don't want to take that corruption, but maybe I can get closer to making this happen. But I think this will be something of a power turn. So the first thing I'll do is take the middle action, Conspire, and I must gain a corruption to take that action, so I'm going to add a corruption to this agenda slot here. And now I can advance any civilization track I like, and I'm going to advance Statecraft, which gets me into Tier 1 that unlocks a 1 improved tech And the immediate result is I can gain an agenda. So maybe I should gain a support agenda, although I don't think I'm going to play it this turn, or this cycle, I should say. And I know I want this one, although I think I'm probably going to play progress next. I'm not 100% certain about that, but if I do, I'd rather have a might agenda and just get it into play now. And I think I will take a might agenda. I'm gonna push this a little bit, but push my luck a little. All right, so science. This'll score for science yield being up, and then score for each pure sector with a sector defense. This will score for having 3 or more sector defenses, and then for each pure fleet power on the map. I like this one more. I like safeguard policy more, even though I think I'll have the science production on, what is this one? Comprehensive education. I don't intend to have a lot of sectors. I'm not going wide, I'm going tall. So I don't think I'll have as many sectors with sector defenses, but I think I can certainly get up to 3 of them and then get some fleet power on the map and score well for those. So I'm going to take safeguard policy. This one goes back on the bottom of the deck. And now I can take the rest of this action, which is the Galactic Peak. So I draw the next 2 Galactic events from the top of the stack and choose one of them to keep on the top. The other goes to the bottom. So let's go ahead and draw. We get Humanity Rising and Dark Ages. So they're both 5 turns in the cycle. Humanity Rising, let's take a look at that one first. Add a Reclaim token, a Bounty token, and 2 Voidborn fleet power to each Voidborn sector with at least 4 population. Now, it looks like the only sector where I could fully resolve that is this sector here, because all other sectors with at least 4 Voidborn, or any other Voidborn sectors with at least 4 population also cannot take 2 Voidborn fleet power. So that doesn't have much of an immediate effect on me. Then we would have to corrupt a civilization track, and then we could either gain 3 science or advance a civ track. And what I'd probably do is corrupt either the society track or the economic track, and then advance statecraft to get this corruption removal and take it right back off, or maybe swap it out for one of these agenda ones anyway. And then we would score at the end of the cycle if we had 3 or more credit production, which we already do. So if we achieve that, we'd produce food, energy, and materials. That's interesting. Or if we had 5 or more techs, we would get 10 influence. I'll probably achieve that, knowing the way I play. Then let's look at Dark Ages. This would have us add a Reclaim token and a Voidborn fleet power to 1 adjacent Voidborn sector. So that would either have to be this sector here or that Genesis sector in the back corner. And then we'd have to corrupt the Dominance agenda offer, which is probably the one I'm least interested in. Although then again, this one on top looks like it would score pretty good for me the way that I'm playing. But I'm not really interested in the action anyway. And then we would be able to spend up to 6 science to gain the same amount of credits. And then we would score, if we had at least 8 satisfied upkeep, then we could gain an agenda. Or if we had 8 or more pure installations, we could gain 8 influence. I think Humanity Rising is the one I'm more interested in. So I'm going to put that one on top. That'll be our event next cycle. And now I can take this top action, Exploit, and I'm going to take off my preferred focus. I'm choosing Progress. I'm going to take Invent, of course. You know what channel you're watching. So I'm going to spend 2 science. I go from 4 down to 2. And now I can gain a tech. And I'm going to gain Improved Data Refinery. Since I am in tier 1 here on my statecraft track. So that's going to be 6 influence. Gets me up to 20. And now, in addition to the original ability of each Bankers Guild adding 2 levels to my science production, regardless of population, during the evaluation phase, I can also spend credits to satisfy up to 2 upkeep each. So that's pretty great. And the immediate benefits are awesome too. I can build a guild, build an installation, and produce something. So the guild is going to be another Bankers Guild. That's going to go right here so that I can achieve this Galactic event. And now my science production goes up twice for that, up to level 6, production of yield of 4, and my bank, my credit production goes up 3. So it goes from level 7 to level 10, my yield is 4. And now I can build an installation. I'm going to add another sector defense to my outpost. So that'll cost an upkeep, but that'll help keep me protected. And now I can produce any one resource. And I think it's going to be credits. And I can produce 4 credits. So we go from 5 to 9. All right, that was super cool. I really like this tech. I think maybe it's a little underutilized, but it's a good one. And as for this crisis now, I've got to do something with it. I'm going to make it ongoing. I'm going to put it on the military track. a little bit risky, but I think I will accomplish it. And I've got one more turn this cycle. Let's draw the last alert card. It's a level 2 alert, so let's get the crisis card, and we get a general crisis. This is the way. Take all 3 actions of a preferred focus. The immediate penalty is to decrease a pure non-home population. Well, that's interesting. That was not really my intent, but I am playing Progress, as I had mentioned earlier, and I'm pairing Progress with this agenda, so I might as well flip the trade token and just take all 3 actions. I guess that's not such a bad thing. And then that'll clear this crisis. So let's do that. We'll spend the trade token. Let's see how I can get the most out of this. Let's start by taking the middle action, invent. Let's do that again. So spend 2 science. I go down to 0 science, and now I can gain a tech, and I'm going to gain trade nexus. I think this will help. So I gain trade nexus. That gets me 4 influence. I get up to 24. And now I gain 2 food, so that gets me up to 4 food, and 1 trade token. So we'll grab this trade token here. For my bonus, I am going to gain another bounty token. So we'll draw one of those out of the bag. We get 1 resource of any type. Okay, I think that's going to be another credit. So we go from 9 to 10 credits, and we could put the bounty token here. So that was this. I gained this trade token. And then when I return a trade token to the Galactic board, I may gain the trade bonus. So I'm going to try and make use of that, as I had described earlier, and try and get this agenda, I think, and score for it at some point, ideally in cycle 2. And for my second action, I'm going to take this top action, which has no cost. This is experiment, and I'm going to choose to just produce science. I could build a scientist guild, but I'm just going to produce. So that's going to get me 4 science. So I feel pretty good about that. And then I'll take this bottom action. I need to recall a fleet power. So I'll bring that back from my outpost sector to remove a corruption from that sector. All right, so that's done. And then I can, what is this? Regroup. I always forget the name of that. And I'm going to regroup this 1 fleet power from my home sector to my outpost. So that will help me survive the coming skirmish. And then finally, I can take an agenda action. And so the agenda will either let me advance my lowest track or gain a trade token. But in this case, I can do both, because I will choose to advance my lowest track, which is my econ track. So that goes up, it lands on the boost, goes up again, and I gain a trade token. So let's grab another trade token, and I will take another bounty token as the reward, please. So we'll get something from this draw bag. This seems like it's going okay. And we get either an energy and a science or 1 influence. And I think at this point in the game, I'll take the energy and science. So 4 energy, 5 science now. Set this bounty token aside. And that was all 3 card actions plus my agenda action. So now the agenda gets slotted. I'm going to place that here. These 2 trade tokens I earned, these go on the 2 agenda slots. That's great. This trade token that I spent returns to the Galactic board. And because I have trade nexus, I gain another trade bonus. So I will take another bounty token. So I'm going to have a bounty economy going here, but mostly just for the influence at the end of the game, assuming I get that agenda. So I can take 1 energy and 1 materials, or I can take 1 influence. And again, at this point, I think it makes sense to take the resources. So my energy goes to 5, my materials goes to 4. I know I'm going to spend those immediately when it comes down to this section where I have to do the crisis board. But let's go ahead and put this bounty token here now. And I have taken all 3 actions on a preferred focus, so I've resolved this crisis card, so we can remove these. And that means it's time to go to the evaluation phase for cycle 1. So we start by skirmishing, and I've got 2 corruption here on my house mat, and a +2 modifier on the crisis board. So that's 4. And I wonder if it might be more helpful for just viewers, if I do a more visual representation of the skirmish. So let's go ahead and take 4 Voidborn fleet power on corvettes. So this is what is attacking this sector here, because the only options, well, that's the only option. The only sectors I have are my outpost and my home sector, and the home sector cannot be invaded by the Voidborn. So they've got to attack here. I have 3 sector defense, so that's going to take out 3 Voidborn fleet power. And now we go to salvo. And I have the initiative because I have 2 fleet power and the Voidborn have 1, so I fire first. And now there's nobody left to return fire. So I survived the skirmish, and I'm pretty excited. I was able to do that without having to get energy cells. I was able to get Trade Nexus instead. Energy cells might be helpful at some point here, but I've also kind of got my eye on robotics. Autonomous drones could be good. And hyperdrive for just the bounty tokens even could be good, but we'll see. So anyway, now I need to pay the economic penalty, which is going to be 1 material goes down to 3, 1 energy goes down to 4. So we've resolved the crisis board. Now we pay our upkeep. I have 2 slotted agendas, but they both got trade tokens. So I just need to pay this 1 here for my home sector and this 1 for the installations in my outpost. That's 2 upkeep total. And because I have improved data refinery, I can spend 1 credit for 2 upkeep. So that takes me down to 9 credits. That's pretty nice. Then we check for any sectors with 3 or more guilds that are pure and have 6 population. I don't have any sectors that meet that criteria, so I'm not building any safe havens right now. Now we look at the Galactic event. Do I have 10 or more pure population? No, I have 5. But do I have 3 or more pure bankers guilds? Yes, I do. I have 3 pure bankers guilds. So the reward for that is I can advance 1 civilization track, and I kind of want to advance my statecraft track and remove a corruption. That sounds nice. But I think I've got the opportunity to do that with the next Galactic event, don't I? So the other thing I'd like to do is advance my economic track just to get it into tier 1 and unlock another improved tech. But I think, that's going to let me build a guild. That's fine. I think I'd rather increase my population by advancing the society track. So kind of a tough choice here. So I think I'll go with the economic track. Let's unlock another improved tech. That seems like a good long-term move. I get to build another guild, and I've only got 1 guild slot available. It's near my outpost sector. Let's put another miners guild. So my materials production goes up 2 levels, so it's at level 4, a yield of 3 now. I don't think I really need the food production because I've already got 1 guild, farmers guild here, and I've already got all these bankers guilds, which I'm really going to use to pay my upkeep from now on. So my need for food is much less, and I could have gone either, and I don't really need science either because I'm data refinery. I'm kind of getting science guilds or science production as I build bankers guilds. So it was really 50-50 on whether I should go energy or materials, and I just happen to have 1 less material in my stockpile than energy, so that's what I went with. But all right, that was the Galactic event. Now let's score our pure agendas, which are both of them. So unfortunately, I don't have any sectors that are population 5 or 6 and pure, so I don't score for these first 2 yet. But each pure bankers guild gets me 1 influence, and I've got 3 of those. So I go from 24 to 27. And then each pure guild of any type gets me 1 influence. So I've got 4, 5, 6, 7, all pure. So that goes from 27 to 34. And then on this agenda, I do have 3 pure sector defenses. They're all in my outpost sector, so that's 5 influence, gets me to 39. And finally, every pure fleet power on the map for me gets me 2 influence. And I've got 2 of those, so that's another 4 influence, which gets me up to 43. That is an okay score for the end of the first cycle, especially considering there were only 4 rounds. So that is it for cycle 1. I'm going to do the preparation phase for cycle 2. So that means I'm going to refresh the heroic focus cards. I'm going to refresh the alert decks. That means I'll have to add a harbinger to one of these 2 tracks. I guess I didn't think about that. Almost certainly the economic track. And I'll be removing a trade token. I'll remove the tech blocker from the Galactic board. I'll replace the Galactic event with the one that we pre-selected. And I will take my focus cards back into hand and add in innovation. So give me just a minute and that'll all be done. Here we go. All right, welcome back. We are in cycle 2. The preparation phase is done. We're going straight into the focus phase. I guess minus the Galactic event. I guess we should resolve that, right? So we did know what Galactic event we were getting. This is Humanity Rising. We need to add a reclaim token, a bounty token, and 2 Voidborn fleet power to each Voidborn sector with at least 4 population. And as we talked about before, this sector here is the only one that can hold two, if I can get them in the slots, the only sector that can hold 2 Voidborn fleet power. So that's the only one we can fully fulfill. So we leave the others alone. So that's a much more attractive sector now. And the next thing we need to do is add a corruption to any civilization track, otherwise add a corruption anywhere. So I'll put that here on my society track. Now I can either gain 3 science or advance a track. And as I described, I'm going to advance my statecraft track and then remove a corruption. And I would kind of like to take that back off that society track, but I think I'll take one away from one of these agenda spots for now, because the effect on skirmishes will be the same, but I want to make sure that I'm able to score agendas at the end of this cycle. So now I'm aiming to either have 3 or more credit yield, which I already do, or have 5 or more techs, which I suspect I will also have. So I'll probably accomplish both of those by the end of the cycle, and then I'll just have to choose, do I want 10 influence or do I want to produce the 3 basic resource types? And I guess one thing to consider as I'm thinking about this, if I can build enough guilds of those basic resource types, if that can cause 2 overproductions, by producing the 3 basic resource types, then I can build a level of safe haven that way. So that might be worth doing, beyond just having the resources. So let's now draw the first alert card for this cycle. And we have a level 2 alert. So let's get our crisis card. We have a general crisis here. This is Toxic Bargain. After you gain a trade token, choose to also corrupt an agenda offer. Otherwise, the immediate penalty is to remove a non-home installation and a non-home guild. And I don't really know what my plan is for that. But let's play my first card, and I'm going to play Prosperity. And I will flip a trade token for this one because I'm going to be getting another and I'll run out of slots. So I might as well flip one. So I'll just work my way down. I'll take the top action first, spend 1 material. So I go from 3 to 2 to advance my economic track. So this goes up, and now I gain a trade token. So we'll take one of these. And for my bonus, I am going to take another bounty token, please. So I'll draw one from the bag. And I get either 2 materials or 1 influence. I think I'll take the 2 materials, so I go from 2 to 4, and I'll put the bounty token here. And since I just gained a trade token, I guess I can corrupt an agenda slot. So sure, let's go ahead and corrupt the might agenda since I've already got one of those. And I think I'm going to want a support agenda, and I'm going to want this wealth agenda. I want the wealth one because I'm already working on trying to score it. And I want the support agenda to take care of this ongoing crisis. And then this dominance one doesn't look so bad, so maybe I'll go after that. I don't know. But that was the first action, so let's continue on. Now I'll take the middle action, which has no cost. I can produce any 1 resource type and gain 2 resources. And so I've got 9 credits and 5 science. Those are doing all right. I feel like I want to push these, which are all at 4 right now. Food and materials have a yield of 3. Energy has a yield of 1. I feel like I want to push these to maybe try and do that double overproduction I talked about. So let's choose material. Man, I'm having a hard time. Yeah, I'm having a hard time choosing. Boy. Yeah, let's choose materials because that's more often a cost that I'm going to encounter than food. So I'm going to produce materials, go from 4 to 7, and then gain 2 resources and any combination of any type. And I think I'll just take 2 more materials. So that's up to 9 now. And then I will take this bottom action last. Oh, but before I forget, I corrupted that slot. Let's take this crisis card out of here. These are resolved. Yeah, so the bottom action, I need to deactivate a fleet power and spend 1 energy and 1 material. So maybe I'll spend a couple credits to try and... I'll spend 1 credit. I'll spend 1 energy and 1 credit to try and keep my materials high with an eye on overproducing. So I'm down to 3 energy and 8 credits. And now I can gain an agenda and build an installation. And unfortunately, there are no open installation spots for me, but I'm going to gain a support agenda. So let's draw 2 of these because I don't really want the one on top. Let's see here. So both of them have multipliers for having 2 pure guilds of the same type. So environmental exploitation has 5 influence for every 2 pure miners guilds, and optimized power supply is 5 influence for every 2 pure energy guilds or engineers guilds. So I guess I'm working more towards the miners guilds right now, so maybe I should go that direction. Although, yeah, an optimized power supply rewards you for having 6 or fewer upkeep, which I think I'm on the track to having more upkeep than less. Whereas environmental exploitation will give you influence if you have 1 or more corrupted civilization track, which I currently do. I can just try and leave this corruption there and maybe score some influence for it. So yeah, I'll take environmental exploitation. That's what we're doing here. And that was all 3 actions, and I've already handled the crisis. So this trade token gets slotted. This one goes back to the Galactic board, and I have Trade Nexus, so I gain another trade bonus, and that's going to be a bounty token. So let's draw another one of those. We get, where's it at? Here, either 2 materials or 1 influence. Great, let's take 2 more materials, get closer to overproducing. So now we're up to 11 materials in the stockpile. We produce 3 at a time, so not quite overproduction levels, but we're getting close. And our next alert, is a 3, okay? So we draw a general crisis. This is Show of Force. So this says to advance your statecraft track while already having 5 or more active fleet power. Otherwise, remove 2 non-home guilds. I don't love that. But it's not, in principle, it's just like a harder version of this one that's already going on here, like having all this active fleet power. So maybe I can push really hard and make that happen. Not on this turn, though. So for this turn, I'm going to play Innovation to take Heroic Innovation, which we knew was going to be one of the heroic cards this cycle. I don't know if I mentioned the other 2 are Temptation and Conquest. And I'm going to flip a trade token, and I'm going to take all 3 actions on this card. So I'm going to start with the bottom action. I'm going to spend 2 Science, so I go from 5 to 3. And I can gain an agenda and remove a crisis card. And I'm going to take the agenda first. I'm going to take this wealth agenda that I've been eyeing. So that's Quantum Leap. Let's replace it with a new one off the top of the stack. Ooh, Intellectual Supremacy. I like that one too. But Quantum Leap is the one I wanted. And now I can remove a crisis card. And I think I'm going to achieve these 3, actually. And I don't think I'll ever get this level 0 crisis. So I'm going to remove this 1 crisis off the economic track, even though that's a track I'm way better equipped to handle, because I think I can clear the rest of these within a couple turns. So now I'll take this middle action, which is free. I can remove an adjacent Voidborn fleet power, and I'm going to do that from the, I was going to say from the Genesis sector, but actually I might not need to. Maybe let's take one from here, and maybe I can get to this sector and take that one too. And as for the improved tech, I'm going to take improved arc ships. Let's just make a big mess on the Galactic board first, though. All right, I'm going to take this. I do have 1, 2 improved techs unlocked, and this is my second improved tech, so that's fine. So first, let's take the 6 influence. I go from 43 to 49. And I can raise a peer population and build a guild. And what this tech does is it lets me have up to 4 additional guilds in my home sector. And so I can remove 1 here from that upkeep slot again. And since it's all mathematically equivalent, let's just remove the Farmers Guild too. So I've got 2 empty slots left. And then when I play Reinforcement Focus, I can increase a peer population. So let's increase the population here, I suppose, from 3 to 4. Let's get that one up to 4. And so my Farmers Guild goes up 1 level. My Bankers Guild goes up 3 levels. 1, 2, 3. So that is maxed out at 13 levels and 8 production for my Bankers Guilds. And I can build a guild now. And I think let's put another Farmers Guild to try and help me overproduce food and materials if and when we get to achieving that. So another Farmers Guild makes my food level go up another 4 levels. So it goes from 5 to 9. So my production is now 6. My yield is 6 for food, and I've got 4. So if I produced it now, I'd only get up to 10. Still a ways from overproducing, but I've got my eye on that Genesis sector, and I think I could fill it up. So we'll see how this goes. So this was pretty good. Let's slot it. And now what am I doing? Now I am taking the top action, which costs 4 resources. I'm going to spend 4 credits. So that goes from 8 down to 4. And I can now produce credits and science. So science has 3. My yield is 4, so it goes up to 7. Credits, I have 4. My yield is 8, so that goes up to 12. and I can gain a basic tech. And I've really been struggling. I kind of want basically everything but tactical transports, which also I've got some reasons to want it. But I think I'm going to go with energy cells, even though I was really close to robotics, really close to orbital docks. I was really close on that one. Hyperdrive was really just for the bounty tokens. I didn't need it that much. Tactical transports, I just want mostly for the deploying of fleet power. But I'm going with energy cells, because that'll allow me to accomplish one of the crises later. So no influence on this one, but I can spend 2 energy to activate 2 fleet power, or 5 energy to activate 3 fleet power, that feels real steep, but I'm going to pay the 5. I'm going to pay 2 energy, so I'm down to 1, and then 3 credits, so I go from 12 down to 9. So now I can activate 3 fleet power. 1, 2, 3. So I've got 6 active fleet power now. I'm going to need that, and then I can slot this, and from now on, when I'm the defender, when I deal 1 approach damage, I get when I deal 1 or more approach damage, I get an additional approach damage. So that was all 3 of my actions. Now the trade token goes back to the Galactic board, and because I have Trade Nexus, I gain a reward. I will take a bounty token. I'm trying to maximize those points and also put off having to produce things. It seems to be working. This one, I like this one. It gives me 1 science and 1 influence. That never hurts to get both. So my science goes up to 8 from 7. My influence goes from 49 to 50. And we'll put the bounty token there. And as for the agenda, or not the agenda, as for the crisis card, I'm going to put it on the crisis board on the economic row. It was a general crisis. And the heroic focus card goes away. And we draw our next alert card. And okay, it is a war card. I'm kind of surprised we hadn't seen one yet. So we're in cycle 2. So we would have to skirmish at +1 Voidborn fleet power, which is not real favorable right now. And if we win the skirmish, we get to improve a glory token, which I guess would be fine. And then on the economic track, we'd have to pay this stuff. So, okay, let's see how the turn plays out and then decide what I'm going to do. So I'm going to play Reinforcement, and I'll pair it with this agenda here, Environmental Exploitation. So the first thing I'm going to do is take this agenda action. I get to activate a fleet power, and I can build an installation, but again, I have nowhere to build one, sadly. But before I activated the fleet power, I had 6 active fleet power here. So while taking the agenda action on a support agenda, start over. Take the action on a support agenda while already having 2 or more active fleet power. That is achieved. I can remove this from the crisis board. So now my skirmish level goes down a little bit. That's good. Sorry, I'm just chuckling to myself. I could not say agenda action. It was just ejection, like I'm going to be launched out of my seat or something. Okay, so now I could take a couple actions here. And the first will be the top action. So I need to deactivate a fleet power. And now I can advance any 1 track. And I'm going to advance my statecraft track. And so if you'll notice, I just advanced my statecraft track while having 5 or more active fleet power. So I just solved this agenda, or this crisis card too. I'm realizing now I could have done it with 1 less fleet power, which means I could have saved myself a couple energy, or 3 energy. Yeah, I could have saved 3 energy. Man, that was oopsie, but we're going to leave it. We're moving on. So I advanced my statecraft track, and now I've unlocked another improved tech, and I can gain a tech. But the only improved tech that's available that I could grab right now is Trade Nexus. And I don't know if that one's such a big deal for me. I think I'd rather grab basic tech right now. I'm taking autonomous drones, which I would have rather grabbed that by taking this Fallen House sector, but this is where we're at. So I gain a trade token. Let's grab another one of those and take my bonus, which of course will be another bounty token. So draw 1 from the bag, and we get 2 materials or 1 influence. Let's take the 2 materials just to lock in that overproduction. So I'm at 13 materials now, and I produce 3 yield. So that would overproduce. So I grab my trade token. I also get to deploy a fleet power, and so I'm going to send one here to my outpost sector. And this says, in combat, when I'm the invader, I can spend a trade token to gain a salvo absorb and an approach absorb, probably in the other order, right? An approach absorb and a salvo absorb. And during a skirmish, I can spend a trade token to win the combat in the evaluation phase. So not any skirmish, like not this war skirmish, but in the evaluation phase at least, I can spend a trade token. So that's pretty good. And so that was just the top half of this action. Then the bottom half is I can build a sector defense, but again, I've got nowhere to build it. So I've missed out on a lot of installations. That's too bad. But then I'm also going to take this middle action here, muster. I'm going to spend 2 credits instead of 2 material, and I can deploy to each shipyard. And I've only got 1 shipyard. It's in my home sector. So 1 fleet power there. I kind of wish, this is why I was looking at getting orbital docks. That would have let me get another one out, but because I don't have much fleet power on the map, and I would like to, but that's where we're at. So that was all my actions. I'm going to slot this agenda and slot this trade token. And now I've got to take care of this war card. And I think I will do that. That'll not be as bad as it was before. So we're going to skirmish with +1 Voidborn fleet power. We've got 1, 2, 3, and +1 is 4. So let me help with the visual again. Here's the 4 Voidborn fleet power. Can't talk today. I didn't put this bounty token away. There we go. Here they are. They're attacking my outpost sector, the only place that can be attacked by the Voidborn at this particular time. And so I've got 3 sector defense plus energy cells. So each approach, if I do at least 1 approach damage, I get 1 extra. So I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4 approach damage. So I take out all 4 fleet power, and we never even make it to the salvo step. So that went pretty well. And now my reward for that is that I can improve my glory token. So the 2 turns into a 3. I haven't hardly interacted with glory at all. And then I need to pay the economic row, which is just going to be 1 material and 1 energy. And I'm going to pay the 1 energy, and I'm going to pay 1 credit instead of material, down to 6 credits. I want to keep my materials high just in case. But now we've resolved that war card. And now we can draw the next alert, which is a level 1 alert. That's nice. And we have an economic crisis. This is Price of Greatness. It's an economic crisis. After you play an agenda card from hand, choose to also spend 1 resource of any type. Otherwise, you can recall a fleet power or add a Voidborn fleet power to every open rift. Okay, that's not bad at all. So I'm going to play Conquest, which is, I believe, my 4th card. Prosperity, Innovation, Reinforcement, Conquest. Yep. Playing Conquest to take Heroic Conquest. Let's do that. And I'm going to start with the middle action, which is going to cost 1 credit and 1 energy, and I'm out of energy, so that's another credit. So I'm down to 4 credits, but I can regroup, which I will do. I'll move this 1 fleet power over to my outpost. And then I can gain an agenda card. And I don't really know what I want, but I guess, I don't know. I'll take a look at the next 2 wealth agendas. It just never hurts to have them for the action. So which of these might I want? Definitely not Augmented Armada. I won't have any sectors with 2 different types of fleet power in it because there's only 1 type in the game. They're all corvettes. And then reclaim tokens, I'm not going to get a bunch of reclaim tokens, I don't think. So how about this one, Technological Singularity? I usually like that one. It rewards you for having 4 techs, which I do, and then kind of going wide and having a lot of pure sectors. So I don't think I'm really going to accomplish that, but I'll take it just to have it in hand. I just kind of wanted to see what the next ones were, and now I can get an action from that later, I suppose. So that was this action. Now I'm going to take this top action, which is Annihilate. That's going to cost me 1 food, and I'll spend 1 food, and 2 energy. So I'm going to spend 2 credits. I'm down to 2 credits. That's getting kind of low. Down to 3 food is okay. And now I can invade, and then I can remove corruption from the invaded sector. So I'm going to invade the Genesis sector with 3 fleet power. And I'm also going to spend a trade token to use autonomous drones. So as the invader, spend the trade token, gain 1 approach absorption and 1 salvo absorption. So I could ignore the sector defense. I absorb it. And then in the first salvo, it's 3-2 initiative. So I fire first, Voidborn lose a fleet power. And then they fire back, but I absorb it with 1 salvo absorb. So we go to the next salvo. I fire first. And that's it. They can't fire back. So I win the combat with no casualties. And because it's a Genesis sector, when you win the combat there, you can move the corruption to another sector, but it is not mandatory. I'm going to leave it there. I guess you can move it to any legal spot. It doesn't have to be a sector. Let me grab the bounty token, reclaim token, and glory token. That stuff's real far away. Let's score glory. So I've got 2 number 3 glory tokens. So that's 6 glory for me. I go from 50 to 56. And let's grab a bounty token. So that's going to come from the bag. And we get 1 food and 1 materials, huh? I'm not actually sure if I really need that now. I think actually I might take the influence. I think I've been pushing that a little too hard. Let's take 1 influence. Go up to 57. And now I need a reclaim token. I've got a draw bag for those as well. We get, what is this? I can build an installation in this same sector. So I'll do that just for the purposes of not having to reach again. So the sector defense that is up there that the Voidborn have gets removed after combat, and then I'll build a sector defense. So we can just leave that one there. Great. So I'll take these blanks off the board, and now I'll resolve the rest of this effect. I can remove the corruption from the combat sector. So let's do that. So that corruption is removed, and I now have 2 pure sectors with 4 population. So this level 0 crisis comes off of the crisis board. And that's it. Those were my 2 actions off Heroic Conquest. So let's discard the Heroic card. I'm not real worried about this crisis. I'll make it ongoing. I'm sure I can take care of that. And then this trade token that I spent for autonomous drones, I've got to put that back on the Galactic board. And let's take another bounty token. I'm really making Trade Nexus do its work, earn its keep. This one is +2 energy or 1 influence. And my energy is pretty low. Let's take 2 energy. So I went from 0 to 2, because my yield on that is only 1. That's not great. So now we'll put the bounty token here. We got to draw 1 more alert card for this cycle. And we get another war card, okay? So just like the last one, +1 Voidborn fleet power in the skirmish, but then instead of getting to upgrade a bounty token if I defend it, I have to add a Voidborn fleet power to an adjacent sector. But the board is looking better now than it did then, so I'm not too worried. So I'm going to play Development as my final focus card and pair it with this Quantum Leap agenda. And I'm going to flip this trade token as well to take all 3 actions. So we'll start at the top. I'm going to spend 1 material, and I will spend a material. I'll go from 13 down to 12. I think I'll be okay, actually. And I can build a guild. So I'm going to build a farmer's guild here in the Genesis sector. So that makes the pure population go from 4 to 5. Sorry, that sector is really far away. So my production level goes up from 9. It goes up 5 times. 10, 11, 12, 13, and it's maxed out. So my food production is maxed. And now I'm going to take the middle action. I need to recall a fleet power. So I'll do that from the Genesis sector to build a guild and an installation. So the installation will be another sector defense. And the guild will be a miner's guild. And because it's a basic guild type, that makes the Genesis sector population go up to 6. So food can't go up again, but materials goes up 6 levels from 4 to 10. So now my production yield is 8, so I'm in pretty good shape there. And now I'll take the bottom action. I'm going to spend 1 science, so go from 8 to 7. And now I can either increase a pure population or remove a corruption. I'd really like to increase this population from 4 to 5, but I need the corruption gone more because I'm about to slot this agenda and I can't score it if this is corrupted. So I'm going to remove this corruption from my house mat. And then finally, I'm going to take my agenda action, and I'm just going to do it now so I don't forget. I'm going to spend 1 science. I'm going to go from 7 to 6. So I've had plenty of science this whole time. I've played my agenda. I spent one resource of any type, so this level 1 crisis is clear. Now I can build a guild and then produce that resource type. So I'm a little bit torn here. I'd kind of like to build a miner's guild just to score another 5 influence for this agenda here. but I would also like to build another, because that scores for having pairs of pure Miners Guild. But I'd like to build another Bankers Guild just to produce credits so that I can pay all my upkeep and still be able to overproduce here. But you know what? I just did the math on it. If I put the Miners Guild, I can produce enough materials to pay for upkeep that way. So that's what I'm going to do. That's going to net me the most points. All right, so I can't make the population go up any more than that, but the materials production level goes up 6 times. It's already at level 10, so it just goes up to 13, which is max. And then I produce that resource type, so I produce 15 materials. I have 12, so that overproduces. So that gains me 3 influence. So I go from 57 to 60. Try and do that some more, I think. And that's it here. So now I need to resolve this crisis. I guess before I do, I can slot this agenda. This wealth agenda. I can return this trade token to the Galactic board and gain another bounty token. So let's grab one of those. Some credits would be good. What do I get? 1 food, 1 materials, or 1 influence. I think I will take the influence, actually. Go up to 61. Every little bit matters. Okay, and now I resolve the war card. So we skirmish at +1. I have 1 here and no other modifier. So we only skirmish at 2. No matter which sector, the Genesis sector or my outpost, whichever one they skirmish in, I'm going to do more than enough approach damage to take them all out. So I win the skirmish. That means I need to add a Voidborn fleet power to an adjacent sector. And this sector is adjacent to the Genesis sector through the wormhole, so let's do that one. And now I pay the crisis board, the economic track, that's 1 material from 15 to 14, and 1 energy from 2 to 1. That's it for that war card. And that's it for the focus phase of cycle 2. So I did prosperity, heroic innovation, reinforcement, heroic conquest, and development for my 5 turns. Now we do the evaluation phase, starting with resolving the crisis board again. We do have the +1 modifier on this one. So 1, 2, that's exactly what we just did a minute ago. So I survived that skirmish as well. And now I pay the economic track again. So 1 more material, 1 more energy. I'm out of energy, 13 material. I really hope I did my math right here. I need to pay my upkeep. I've got 8 from my agendas. Not 1 here. I've got 1 more open slot, but then 9 for those guilds, 10 for those installations, and then 11 for those guilds. So 11 upkeep. I can spend my credits as 2 each. I've got 2 credits, so that's 2, 4 upkeep, which means I've got 7 more to pay. And I'm going to do 2 food. I've got 3. So 6, 5 more to pay. I'm going to spend the rest with materials. That's going to be 10 materials. So I go from 13 down to 3. That'll be just enough. So my upkeep is spent and covered. Now we check for any safe havens, and I do have in my Genesis sector up there a 6 population sector that's pure with 3 guilds, so I can build 1 level of safe haven. So I'll take one of my inactive fleet power and place it right here. So that's 1 level built. And now we check the Galactic event, and I have indeed accomplished both of the 2 options there. So I think I will take the top one. Rather than take the 10 influence, I think I'd rather overproduce twice and complete this safe haven. So my credit yield is at 8. So that's plenty. I only needed 3. So now I can produce food, energy, and materials. So food, I have 1. I produce 15. So that maxes out at 15, and I've overproduced food. 1, 2, 3, up to 64. Produce energy, I only get 1 of those, 0 to 1. And then produce materials, I have yield of 15. I have 3 in my stockpile, so that is going to overproduce as well. I'm at 15 material. The second overproduction gets me 1, 2, 3 more influence up to 67, and now I can build 1 level of safe haven. So this safe haven is complete, and I can choose one of these rewards. And I'm not going to remove corruption because this one's actually scoring for me. And I don't need 3 resources, I don't think. Well, I could take 3 credits. Removing a Harbinger is generally a good idea, especially because I don't think I'm going to actually take over any of those sectors and remove Harbingers that way. But deploying 2 fleet power sounds kind of good too. So I'm having a real hard time getting fleet power out, and I've already kind of maxed out that Genesis sector. So it might be good to like put 2 fleet power here, and then I can come and take this sector without too much trouble. And you know what? Yeah, I think I will deploy 2 fleet power. Let's do that. I think I might prefer that to increase my score rather than worrying too much about decreasing the Voidborn score. You know, with the crisis board the way it is, and the fact that I have no catastrophes yet, I think I'm in pretty good shape. I need to run my score up. I think more than I need to decrease the Voidborn score. So that's what I'm doing there. And now I score my agendas, which are all pure. So any 5 population sectors I have. I was real close on this one, but I didn't quite get there. So no points for that. But I do have a pure 6 pop sector back there. So that's worth 6 influence for me. So 67 goes 8, 9, 0, 1, 2, 73. All right. 1 influence for each Bankers Guild. 1, 2, 3 pure Bankers Guilds. So 3 influence there, up to 76. And then 1 influence for each pure guild. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So that's 87 now. I do have at least 3 pure sector defenses, so that's another 5. That goes up to 92. I do, or 2 influence for each pure fleet power on the map. Oh, I forgot I would score for this too. So I've got 5. So that's 10 influence. That gets up to 102. I do have a corrupted civilization track, so that's another 7. That gets me up to 109. And I have 2 pairs of Miners Guilds, so that's another 10 influence, 119. I do have 2 improved techs, that's 4 influence, so 123. And finally, 3 influence. Finally, I get to score for this. 3 influence for every pair of bounty tokens. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pairs, so that's 15 influence. So that's going to get me up to 138. That's pretty good. If I can continue on this path for cycle 3, if I can try and run up my score, then I think I'll be okay. I think the things I need to focus on are, running up my score. If I can get more bounty tokens, that would be good. If I can get more fleet power on the map, that helps a bunch more guilds, or even raising population here. If I can get this to 6, that would be some points. I don't know if I'll complete this other safe haven. I might be able to do it. That would really help a lot. Maybe if I concentrate on overproducing, and then I don't have a lot of need for this other fleet power because I'm having such a hard time deploying. If I can just survive with what's on the map, maybe instead of deploying, maybe I focus on pushing one of these tracks up to tier 4, which could also help build a level of safe haven. And then, I'll pay the cost with these fleet power there. So either the economic track or the statecraft track, I can see doing that. And then other than that, the only other thing I might want to do is maybe if I can take this sector, I was going to say abandon it and grab this one for the better rewards and to get that Harbinger off the map. But I don't know that I'm going to have the fleet power to make that happen. That's going to be real tough. But I think my big fears going into scoring are these last 2 components. I need to get corruption out of the game, and I need to get... I don't like all these voidborn sectors with high populations. That's going to cost me. But I don't know that I can penetrate deep enough into their territory to take any of those and hold them through the end of the game. So, okay. Anyway, I'm going to do the preparation phase for cycle 3, and then I will see you here. So stick around. Here we go. All right. So I'm back, and it is cycle 3. The preparation phase is done, and our new heroic focus cards are development, leadership, and progress. The improved techs on offer are robotics, autonomous drones, energy cells, and hyperdrive. And the Galactic event is the last stand. So we have 6 turns this cycle, and I've been kind of looking things over, and there are so many different routes I could take this, and it's just not possible to do all the things I want to do. But I think I've landed on a happy medium. I'm gonna do a lot of stuff. So let's start with this event. It starts pretty rough. First, we have to corrupt 2 agenda slots if able. Otherwise, take 2 corruption anywhere. And so I'm gonna corrupt these 2 agenda slots here because this one scores the best. So that's the last one I want to corrupt. And now I need to add a number 3 glory token on a Voidborn or Fallen House sector. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that here. And now I can deploy a fleet power and I can build a guild. So for deploying, I'm going to deploy a fleet power to my outpost sector and build a guild, And I suppose I've got a lot of options, but I guess I'm scoring here specifically for Miners Guild. So I'm going to build another one of those, and the only place I can build it is my home sector. So my mining guilds are already maxed out in production, so I don't raise it at all. And now at the end of the cycle, I can either score one pure agenda, which is, that can be super strong, or for each corruption on my house mat, I can gain 3 influence, and that is definitely a consolation prize. So one of my main goals is to get these 2 corruption off of these agenda slots. That's going to be really important. But let's draw the first alert card now, and it's a 3, coming in hot. And so we get a military crisis. This is for the greater good. Invade a fallen house with 2 different fleet types. Otherwise, discard an agenda from your hand or played. And that stinks. There is a fallen house left, but there are not 2 fleet types in this game. So I can't accomplish that one. So it's just going to be a matter of taking the penalty, letting it stay on the crisis board for the remainder of the game, or taking a catastrophe, which I don't want to do. So we'll solve that at the end of the turn. But let's start with my card. I'm going to start with Prosperity. And so I'll start with the top action. I'm going to spend 1 material. I go from 15 down to 14 to advance my economic track. So this goes up to here, and now I can gain an agenda. And I'm going to gain a dominance agenda. I'm going to take this one that's face up and then replace it. So this will score me. Let's see. Ah, darn. I think this one would have scored a little bit better. But this one here will score for my statecraft track, whatever tier it's in, times 4. And then if I have 2 pure sectors that are population 5 or above, that'll also be worth 4. So I'm hoping to raise this population 1 time, keep this in the Genesis sector pure, and then I should accomplish this. And I'd like to bump the statecraft track all the way up to tier 4 by the end. But I have now advanced my economic track, and by doing that, I've unlocked a 4th improved tech as well. I've only got 2, but I've got 4 unlocked. And now I'm going to take this second action, store. I can produce any 1 resource. I'm going to produce credits. I'm at 0. So that goes up to 8 now. Then I gain 2 resources of any type, and you know what? I'm going to gain 2 more credits. So now I've got 10 credits, and that was both of my actions. So I am going to resolve this with the immediate penalty. I'm going to discard Safeguard Policy, this Might agenda, because I think I'm going to play and slot this dominance agenda that I just gained, Federal Authority, and I think that this will score better than that one did. So that's a good way to make this crisis go away. So that was a quick first turn. Let's draw our second alert card here. It is a level 2. So our crisis card is an economic crisis. This is scientific breakthrough. While resolving a progress focus, trigger a overproduction of science. I don't think I'm going to do that. The immediate penalty is skirmish at +1 Voidborn fleet power, which is not looking great with my current amount of corruption on my house mat here. And then if you successfully defend that, you add a sector defense to an adjacent Voidborn sector. So that's special. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to play Innovation in order to take Heroic Leadership. And I'm going to pair that with this Dominance agenda. So let's give this a shot. So I'll start with this bottom action. I'm going to spend any 1 resource. I'm going to spend a science. I'll go from 6 down to 5 to either remove a Harbinger or remove a crisis card. And I think I'm going to remove a Harbinger. I'm going to take this one off of this sector back here because I'm pretty unlikely to get to it by the end of the game. And now I'm going to take my agenda action to invade. And I'm going to invade this sector from this one with this, this fleet power here, these 3 fleet power cubes. Like so. So there is no approach damage. And now I have initiative, so I fire first. And the 1 Voidborn fleet power is destroyed, and they can't fire back. So I win the combat, making a mess of things. Okay, so let's start with the glory tokens. There's 2 of them there. So this is 11 glory I can score. So go from 138 to 149. That's good to do. And there's a bounty token here as well. So let's get the drawback. Happy to gain another bounty token. And we get, this one is 1 food and 1 material or 1 influence. And right now my food's at 15, my material's at 14. I think I will take the influence, please. So that gets me up to 150. Moving right along. Another pair of bounty tokens complete there. And we'll put this blank off to the side. And now that I've done that, I'm going to take this middle action, utilize, and I need to spend a glory token. So this number 2 glory token is going to go away. And now I can remove a corruption. So let's get rid of this one here. And I can take an action off a preferred focus. And I'm going to copy an action off progress. It's going to be invent. So I'm going to spend 2 science. I go from 5 down to 3 and gain a tech card. And I'm going to gain improved energy cells. So this is going to get me 6 influence. So I go from 150 to 156. And now I can either regroup or build 2 sector defenses, and I will build 2 sector defenses. So I'll put them right here in this newly acquired sector. Help me hold it. All right. And I can slot this. And so as usual, as it was with basic energy cells, when I deal as the defender at least 1 approach damage, I get 1 extra approach damage. But now, during the evaluation phase, all of the upkeep on the map is satisfied for free. So at most, I'll have 8 upkeep here from my agendas. So that'll help me out at the end. I can put this progress card away. So I have taken this action, my agenda action, and then this action. So that's it for me. I'm going to slot this agenda here in this newly opened spot, and the heroic focus card goes away. And now I think I will take this immediate penalty. I think I'm going to skirmish at +1 Voidborn fleet power. So their fleet power is going to be 1, 2, and there's no modifier here, so this just makes it 3. And they can't attack my home sector, and they can't attack the outpost anymore either, because it's not adjacent to a Voidborn sector. It's only adjacent to the Genesis, which is mine, this home sector on the other side of the wormhole, this fallen house sector, which is not a Voidborn sector, and it's not, there's a void storm there, so it's not adjacent to anything on the other side of this wormhole. So that can't be attacked. So they either got to attack Genesis or this new sector, and in either case, I've got 2 sector defenses, which will do 3 approach damage, and their power is 3, so they all get taken out on the way in. So I survived that combat. I've successfully defended, so then I need to place a sector defense on a Voidborn sector. And I'll do that over here, because I don't plan on going there. So we can remove these cards now. And so we draw our next alert card, and we have a war card. Okay, so we're in cycle 3, so we're going to skirmish at +5 initiative for the Voidborn, and if I successfully defend, add 2 Voidborn fleet power to an adjacent sector. I think I'll be okay for that one too. So let's now play Progress to take Heroic Progress. And I will start with this top action, which is free. I'm going to build a Scientist's Guild, and I can do that in this sector here. So that is going to make my science production level go up 3 times, from level 6 to level 9. My yield is now 6, and now I can produce science. I have 3, I produce 6, so I'm up to 9 science now, so that's good. And then I'll take this middle action, invent. That is going to cost me 1 food. I have 15, so no big deal. It goes down to 14. And now I have to deactivate a fleet power. I don't love that. But now I can remove a corruption, so I'll take this other one off of my agenda slot. And I can gain a tech. And I do have 4 improved techs unlocked, and I've only got 3 here. So I'm going to take improved autonomous drones. That'll give me another 6 influence. I go from 156 to 162. And I gain a trade token. That's great. Let's take this trade token. And for my trade bonus, I'll take another bounty token, please. Let's keep that going. That's fun. So here's another bounty token. And we can either gain 2 food or 1 influence. And I still have 14 food, so I think I will take the 1 influence. Gets me up to 163 now. Put this here. What else? So I took this tech, I got the trade token, got the trade bonus. So now I can spend a trade token as an invader to gain 1 approach absorb and 2 salvo absorb. So the salvo absorb's gone up. And during the skirmish at the end of the cycle in the evaluation phase, I just automatically win, and I don't even have to spend a trade token. So those were my 2 actions. So I need to slot this trade token now and put away Heroic Progress. And now I think I will very easily resolve this war card, because the skirmish total strength is only going to be 1. And so even though the Voidborn have 5 initiative, they're not going to get past any of my sector defenses. So I win the skirmish. So I need to add 2 Voidborn fleet power to an adjacent sector. Or maybe you could read that as add a Voidborn fleet power to an adjacent sector twice. In any case, there are only 2 non-rift sectors that can hold Voidborn fleet power. This one and this one. So all the sectors are full Voidborn wise, except for the Rift can continue to take more. And now I need to do the economic track, so that's just going to be 1 material down to 13, 1 energy down to 0. And that is another war card resolved. So we're just moving right along here. Let's draw another alert card. And it is a number 2 alert. So let's get the crisis card. So we have a general crisis. This is Secrets of the Novarks. After you gain a tech with a influence bonus, choose to also corrupt an agenda slot. Well, that stinks because I think I've taken all of my actions where I can gain a tech. I guess I could do it through temptation, but I don't know if I want to do that. That's going to lead to a lot of corruption. Otherwise, the immediate penalty is to corrupt the dominance agenda and spend a science. I will probably take the penalty on this one. But I am now going to play politics, and I'm going to start with the middle action, which is prevail. I need to spend 2 energy and 1 credit. I have no energy, so just 3 credits. I go from 10 down to 7, and now I can improve a glory token, so I'm going to turn this 3 into a 4, and I can invade, and I'm going to spend this trade token to use autonomous drones, improved autonomous drones, and I'm going to invade this sector here with 2 fleet power, leaving 1 behind. So I'm invading with 2. Improved autonomous drones give me 1 approach absorption, so that cancels out that sector defense. And now the initiative is 3-2 with the Voidborn firing first, but I have a salvo absorb, and then I fire back. Now the initiative is 2-2, tied, and I have a second salvo absorb now, so I absorb, and they get hit. And now I have the initiative, so I fire first, and they lose their last fleet power, and they don't get to fire back. So I have won this combat. Let's gain the glory token. So now I've got 13 glory. So I go from 63 to 176. 163 to 176. I like that. And let's resolve these tokens before I reach over and remove that sector defense, because maybe one of these reclaim tokens will give me 1. Let's grab a bounty token first. So another bounty token will complete another pair for scoring. I'm really trying to make use of that. And we get either 1 material and 1 science or 1 influence. And I'm going to keep going with the influence. Let's go up to 177. So that's the bounty token. And now 2 reclaim tokens. So here's the draw bag. Let's see what we get. Come on, come on. We get, I can activate a fleet power or deploy 1 to this sector. And then I can build 1 installation or get 2 influence. So for this one, I'll take the installation, and I'm just going to leave that sector defense there. So it was removed, and then I built a sector defense. This one is very interesting. I don't think I'm going to deploy. I think I'm going to activate. I think that's pretty useful for me. So here are my reclaim tokens. We can remove the blank ones here. And finally, let's remove this Harbinger from the map, and we'll place it here on the economic track. And so that was this whole action. And now I'm going to take this top action, Inspire. So that's going to cost 1 science. So I go from 9 down to 8, and I could advance my statecraft track, which I must deactivate a fleet power to do. But now it's in tier 3. And this will allow me to upgrade a glory token again. So my 4 turns into a 5, and then I can score my glory again. So now 14 more influence. That's awesome. So I go from 177, let's see, 78, 79, 80, 81, 91, 191. We're doing, I think, a pretty good job driving up my score. If I can get the Voidborn score to go down at some point, that would be good too. I think I'm doing a little bit of that, but definitely mine is going up. So that was pretty good. I took 2 actions here. Now I need to take care of this crisis, and I'm just going to take the penalty. So that's going to be a corruption here on the dominance agenda offer, and I need to spend a science. So now I go from 8 science down to 7. So these can clear. How many turns was that? I think 4. What have I spent? Prosperity, innovation, progress, and politics. And innovation was for leadership. Okay, yeah, that was 4 turns. Let's draw the next alert card. And we've got another 2. Man, I just can't keep this map in one piece today, can I? Another number 2 alert. So we have a economic crisis. This is Stronghold of Humanity. Increase a population while already having a pure population of 5 or more. The immediate penalty would be to corrupt a sector. Man, I might be able to do this, but I don't think I'm going to do it now. We'll see how I feel at the end of the turn. I might need to make this ongoing. But I do realize I spent this trade token last turn. I do need to return it to the Galactic board. I forgot to do that. And I can gain another bounty token, so let's do it. I think this might be my last one. I don't know if I'll ever complete this pair, but I can still get at least 1 influence from the token itself. So this is, material and a science or 1 influence. And indeed, I will take the 1 influence. That gets me up to 192. All right. What is next? Man, okay. I'm going to play reinforcement. And this is going to be a little bit risky, but I think it'll be worth it. I'm going to start with the top action. I need to deactivate 1 fleet power. And now I need to build a sector defense. And I'm going to put that here. And I can increase any 1 track. I'm going to increase my statecraft track, which is going to cost 2 fleet power I need to deactivate. And if I had any active fleet power, I would be required to deactivate those first, but I have none. So I now have the option to recall fleet power in order to immediately deactivate them, and I will do that. So I'll take 1 out of this new sector and 1 out of the Genesis sector, and now deactivate them both. So I have a lot of inactive fleet power. I've got 8 inactive fleet power, none active, but now I can advance my statecraft track, and the bonus is I can now score 1 pure agenda, or I should say 1 pure non-starting agenda. And so this one right now scores 16, this one scores 17, and this one scores 25. So I'm going to score this one. That's 25 influence. That's huge. So I go from 192, that's 197, to 07 to 17. Great. And since I just got a civilization track into tier 4, I can build 1 level of safe haven. So let's put that here. So I know I got some fleet power off the map, but I think it was worth it to get the sector defense down and then to get 25 points and build a level of safe haven. So I've still got 1 more action, and it's going to be this bottom one. I'm going to cost 1 energy. I don't have any, so I'm going to spend 1 credit. I go down to 6, and I can regroup, but I have nothing to regroup because outside of my home sector, I've got 4 sectors, and each one only has 1 fleet power in it. So I'm not moving those, but I can build another sector defense. So I may as well, and I'll put it back there in the Genesis sector, because that's a big sector for me, and I don't have to pay the upkeep for it anyway because of my improved energy cells. So that was reinforcement. That was my actions. I did not increase the population. I'm going to move this crisis, make it ongoing, put it on the economic track, and we need 1 more alert card. And we draw the last war card. Okay. This one, we're going to, if we do this, skirmish at +1 Voidborn fleet power, and if we successfully defend, gain a corruption. That's a heck of a way to end, gaining a corruption. What a kicker. So I've been debating which card to end with. It's either going to be production or development. I guess potentially heroic development. Those are the options here, because they can both remove corruption, which is good. That'll get me some scoring. They can both... production is out. I like production because it can remove corruption, and I could probably overproduce twice and then get some points that way. Ooh, well, actually, it is a little bit of a debate. I'll just put this out here so you can see what I'm thinking. So remove a corruption's good. Overproduce twice is important for finishing this safe haven. That might be the kicker for me. And then I can score for a bunch of these guilds, which would be good. On development, that would let me increase a pure population or remove a corruption. If I do heroic development, I can do both of those. And I'd really like to improve this pure population in my home sector from 4 to 5, because not only will that solve this crisis, but that will score me for this agenda as well, though it's only 4 influence, so it's not like that's not make or break. And then the additional actions to just put down either on either of those development cards. Put down guilds or installations are, useful. And I guess no matter which card I pick, either production, development, or heroic development, I can pair it with this agenda that I have in my hand. I won't slot it, but it'll let me build another guild and produce. And if I were to build a guild, if I could build it in a pure sector, so I'd have to purify one of these two, such as with probably with the heroic development. If I could purify a sector and then build a guild in it, I would build a miners guild, and that would give me a third pair of pure miners guild to score here. Oh, but I could remove a corruption from a sector and then build the miners guild that way with production. This is the way to go. I'm doing production because that is the only way I'm going to finish that safe haven, is if I overproduce now. So, okay. If that didn't make sense, it'll make sense as I do it now. I'm going to pair production with this agenda that was in my hand, and I will start with the bottom action. So I need to spend 1 food down to 13 and 1 energy. I don't have any, so I'll spend 1 credit, go down to 5, and I can remove a corruption. And I'll do that here just so I have 2 pure guilds in this sector at the end when I'm scoring. So I've removed the corruption. I could regroup, but I've got nothing to regroup. So I suppose now I'll take this agenda action to build a guild. So that's going to be a miners guild right here. My production on materials is already maxed out, so there's nothing to adjust. But then I produce materials. So I have 13. I produce 15. So that's an overproduction. That gets me 3 influence. So I go from 217 to 220. Now I'm going to take this middle action to produce food, energy, and materials. So my food is at 13, I produce 15. So that's my second overproduction this turn. That allows me to build the safe haven. I get 3 influence. I'm up to 223. Produce energy, I get 1. Produce materials again, that's another overproduction. I was already full. So I go up to 226. And before I do the safe haven, I also get 1 influence for each pure basic guild. So farmers, miners, or electricians, engineers. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So another 10 influence. I go up to 236 from 226. And okay, now we'll take care of the safe haven. So build 1 level of safe haven here. And that's it. Nothing else to do there. So this agenda I am not going to keep. It's not going to score nearly as well as the one that scores all the bounty tokens. So I believe that was 6 turns, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes. So let's resolve this war card and then go into the evaluation phase. So we need to skirmish at +1 Voidborn fleet power. We have no modifiers on the military track, and we've only got 1 corruption on my house mat. So 1 + 1 is 2. I've got so many sector defenses. Those are all covered. I win the skirmish, so I need to gain a corruption. And the place to do that is going to be on my civilization track, because that will not hurt me in any way. And now I need to pay the economic penalty, which has gone up. It's going to be 2 materials. It goes from 15 to 13. 2 energy goes down to 0 from 1, and I need to do 1 credit, so I'm down to 4 credits, and then 1 science goes from 7 to 6. So the war card is resolved, and we go into the cycle 3 evaluation phase, starting with resolving the crisis board. So I would normally here skirmish at 1, 2 + 1 is 3, but because I have improved autonomous drones, I automatically win the skirmish. Now I would have won it anyway, but I didn't have to worry about it, so that was nice. And now I need to pay the economic track again. So that's going to be 2 more materials, so from 13 down to 11. 2 more energy, which is empty, so I've got to use credits, goes from 4 to 2. And 1 more science, so that goes from 6 to 5. Next, I would have to pay for upkeep. Because I have energy cells, improved energy cells, my upkeep from sectors is satisfied. Just out of curiosity, I had 1 for these guilds, 2, 3 for guilds and installations, 4, 5 for guilds and installations. So it looks like 5 total on the map. So that's covered now. I only need to pay this 8 here from my agendas, and I can pay a couple credits. That'll That'll be 4, and then I'll pay for food, so from 15 down to 11. So my upkeep is covered. Now we do the safe haven check, and again, I do have the Genesis sector up there. It has 6 population. It's pure. There's 3 guilds, so I can build 1 level of safe haven. I will do that. And now I don't want I'm not going to deploy to fleet power because I don't have any active fleet power. I don't want 3 resources. I'm not scoring for those. So I can either remove a corruption. These 2 on my house mat aren't hurting me at all. It's going to be 2 points each for the Voidborn, but that's not that big a deal. I'd rather get rid of a Harbinger. So let's take this Harbinger off the map here. So there's only 1 left. There was a scenario in my head where if I'd played my cards differently and in a different order, I could have invaded and taken over this sector too, which would have been pretty cool. I would have gotten the Harbingers off the map, but I never would have finished the safe haven. And I don't think I would have gotten this track up to level 4 either. So anyway, I've completed the safe haven. I got my reward. Now we check the Galactic event. And the top one is much better than the bottom one. I could score 6 influence for having 2 corruption on my house mat, or I can score 1 of my non-starting pure agendas. And this one sadly only scores 16. This one scores 22, and this one is going to score 25 still. So I will score this one. Let's get 25 influence for that. I'm at 236. That goes to 241. 51, 61. Man, I'm gonna blow this thing up because now we score the agendas. And so let's start with my starting agenda. 3 influence for each sector with 5 population. I can't believe I didn't get this one there. I have no sectors with 5 pure population, but I do have still 1 sector with 6 pure population. That's worth 6 influence. I go from 261 to 267. And 1 influence for each pure bankers guild. I still have 1, 2, 3 of those. So that's 3 influence. That gets me to 270. 1 influence for each pure guild. This one's great. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So 274, 284. Okay, 284. I don't have 2 pure sectors with 5 or more population. Again, I missed that. I only missed out on 4 influence though. But my pure statecraft track, 4 influence multiplied by its tier, which is 4. So 16 influence. So I'm at 284 plus 16 is going to be 300 even. That's a nice number to see. And if I have at least 1 corrupted civilization track, that's 7 influence. That gets me up to 307. And each pair of pure miners guilds is 5 influence. And I've got 2 there, 2 there, and then 1 and 1. They're all pure. So 3 pairs, that's 15 influence. So from 307, 312, 322. Next, if I have 2, well, we already know. We already counted this one. This one's 25. So I'm at 322. It goes to 27, 37, 47. 347. And this one's 25 because if I have 2 improved techs, which I do, that's 4 influence, and then 3 for each pair of bounty tokens. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pairs. So that's 21 plus 4, 25. So final score for narrator, 347. I like that score. I think I'm okay. But let's do the Voidborn next. They don't start at 10. When I put them away, I set it to 10 because that's where humans start. But the Voidborn are starting at 140 on hard mode. And now there is an open rift. That's 30. So that gets them up to 170. There are no incomplete safe havens. No catastrophe tokens. That's pretty wild. There is 1 harbinger left on the map. So that's 10 influence. So we're up to 180. No consumed techs. I do have 1 remaining crisis card, so that's 5 influence, 185. There is still a fallen house on the map. That's 3 influence, 188. And then we count up all the corruption in the game, multiply it by 2. We've got 1, 2 on the agenda offers, 3, 4 on my house mat, and then 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 corruption, that's 20 influence, so from 188, 198, 208. And now we add up all the population in Voidborn sectors. So they've got 5, 6, 7, 8, plus another 4 is 12, plus another 3 is 15. And that is all population in Voidborn sectors. The Fallen House is not Voidborn. There's no population in the Rift. So what did I say? 8, 12, 15. So from 208 to 13 to 23. And that is going to be it. Wow, that was quite the spread. So from narrator 347 playing House Belitan to 223 for the Voidborn. So I did say my plan was to drive up my own score and not be too worried about lowering the Voidborn score. Not that I ignored lowering the Voidborn score when I had the opportunity, but I wasn't too bent out of shape about leaving that rift open. You know, the main thing that scared me was there was a lot of corruption all over, and these are some high population sectors, and sometimes those things can really sneak up on you. And then it also didn't hurt that I chose production at the end instead of development, because if I had not done production, I would not have finished the safe haven, which means that would have been another 20 influence for the Voidborn, plus the Harbinger I took off the map as my reward. So I would have been another 30 influence. So I would have gotten them up to 253, and certainly my score probably would have been a bit lower if I had played it differently. I'm not going to go back and try and figure all that out, but you know, it really helped scoring 25 points off that agenda, and then 25 again here, and then normally 25 at the end. I got 75 points off of this agenda, just scoring it during cycle 3. So without doing that, this could have been like a 5-point game if you take out those 75 points. So I hope, I think a lot of the people who are watching my Voidfall videos have been here for a while and are probably pretty familiar with Voidfall. And so to you, I say, I hope this encourages you to go play one of the basic houses again. I think, I don't think they get as much love as they deserve because, they don't have a house ability. They don't have any special focus cards. Their preferred focuses are pretty similar to each other. I think they all have progress, but they're actually really good. I mean, these tracks are super powerful. And in some ways, it's kind of nice having all of the basic focus cards and not having to remember and sort of contort around, oh yeah, I've got this one crazy card and that doesn't work the way I'm expecting. If you've played a lot of Voidfall like I have, then you kind of know the basic the standard focus cards, and you don't have to think quite so much about your special ones. So do take this as an opportunity to maybe re-examine some of these basic houses because they are pretty fun. But that's it for this playthrough. I think I'll keep going through the compendium. So this was scenario 5, so I'll do scenario 6 next. I'll just keep working through it. But I've played all the houses now on this channel, so I'll start circling back through them again. If I remember, I'll try and use different starting text than I did the first time through. But as always, if you have any requests of a house you'd like to see, particular starting technology, or if you want to see a certain house with particular text in the tableau, let me know. I'm always willing to hear some of that. I think I've done a pretty good job at showing all of those requests so far. And if by chance you're newer to the channel, please consider leaving a like on this video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel. There's plenty of Voidfall content. I tend to play one solo playthrough a month, so if you don't want to miss it, please subscribe. Share this with somebody else who might enjoy it. That is always helpful for me. You can head to the Ko-fi page. That is ko-fi. There's a link in the description. It's just an easy way to throw a couple bucks my way to help keep the channel running. I very much appreciate that. I can't believe how many people have contributed to that, but it makes me feel pretty good. Thank you. I hope you're enjoying the content. And then don't forget you can leave comments. I would love to talk to you about Voidfall down in the comments section. So if you're there, I'll be there. But last and most importantly, make sure you're playing your own games. I hope I inspire you to take out some Voidfall today and give it a shot because it's a lot of fun. My goal is never to sell games on this channel. It is just to help you enjoy your own. But that is what I've got for you this time on Table for One. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I had a really great time. This was a good playthrough. Makes me feel a little bit redeemed from my last one. But I hope you have a great week, and I will see you in the next video. Take it easy.